How far would the US government go in order to justify going to war with another country? Would they stage hijackings? Maybe terror attacks on their own soil or soil abroad? Would they kill innocent people? Hold fake funerals for people who they said had died but never existed in the first place? They wouldn't do that, would they? Operation Northwoods, a 1962 declassified document. This was prepared by the Joint Chiefs of Staff for the Secretary of Defense. Then it went on to JFK, who ultimately said, "Nuh-uh, we're not doing this," which is a good thing because the plan in here is absolutely insane. Let's take a look at it. Little background first. At the time, Fidel Castro was ruling Cuba. The US didn't like that. They wanted to replace him with someone who aligned with US interests. They tried assassinating him. They tried inciting a revolt within the country. It wasn't happening fast enough. So they decided, we got to go in with the military, but it has to be justified on the world stage and with our own US people. So they came up with 9 tactics of, here's what we can do in order to justify it. By looking at these, even though they weren't approved, we can see that maybe we need to start to question things that have happened in the world. Maybe the past, present, and future. Can we believe what the government says happened, actually happened, or was it all staged? Let's take a look at the 9 tactics because I think they're interesting. We're going to go into the details here because I like the details. The first one is super basic. It's basically, we're going to do exercises close to Cuba's coast, and we're going to send little whispers through the underground so that they think that a US attack is imminent. So perhaps Cuba will be on the defensive and attack first. We'll maintain the posture that, oh no, these were just exercises, but we'll go in and be justified to use our military on their soil. The second one is a little bit more interesting. They plan an attack on their own Guantanamo base. They're going to use Cuban friendlies dressed in Cuban military uniforms so it looks real. They'll put a group outside of the gate, have them start a riot, put some of them inside the base so it looks like they're being attacked, blow up some ammunitions, blow up a US plane. Actual damage will be done to the structures. Then they're going to pretend like they capture the bad guys. Again, these are Cuban friendlies. This is all fake. And the most interesting part of this one is they're going to sink one of the US ships off the coast, blame it on the Cubans, of course, and hold mock funerals for the people who died. There was no one on the ship. This is all fake. The third one involves using a drone ship off the coast of Havana or Santiago, so the civilians see what happens and believe it. Okay? The Cuban military is obviously going to be curious about this US ship that's so close, so they're going to send out someone to check it out. When it gets close, they blow up the US ship. That way it looks like this Cuban boat did it, but no, they didn't. Then they're going to stage rescue efforts to save the crew who might have survived the attack. Again, there was no one on the boat in the first place. The fourth tactic, this is where we see the first instance of them being willing to sacrifice innocent lives. So they're looking at a refugee boat that's going from Cuba to US. Blow it up. It can be real or simulated. They also say we could foster attempts on lives of Cuban refugees in the United States, even to the extent of wounding in instances to be widely publicized. You've seen already, and throughout this, that anything that happens, they're going to publicize this on the news so that people believe that the Cuban government is rash, irresponsible, they can't be trusted, they're dangerous. So the US has a moral responsibility to go in and stop them. Number 5, capitalize on what Cuba is doing in other countries, publicize it, and then create more events that we do but blame it on Cuba, such as burning sugarcane fields, or perhaps a weapons shipment is found on the coast of one of these countries and we blame it on Cuba. This is the US doing all of these things. How many times have we heard about weapons shipments that were intercepted by the US military and blamed on another country? Was it actually, or was it us trying to justify military intervention in those countries? Will we ever know? I don't think so. Number 6. Here we see that the US proposes building out a plane that looks like Cuban Air Force. The idea behind this one is to fly the fake Cuban military plane close to civilian airliners so they think that they're about to be hijacked or shot down by the Cuban military. Everyone on board will look out the window, see the Cuban plane, think that they're being attacked. Even the pilot is going to believe that they're about to be attacked. So they're going to come over on the intercom, maybe on FAA, and say, "We're being attacked. We need to make an emergency landing." It's the US the whole time. Number 7 simply states that we need to have an ongoing campaign of apparent hijackings of civilian planes so people feel more fear. That's insane. But it leads us to number 8. I'm going to read direct from the document on this one. It is possible to create an incident which will demonstrate convincingly that a Cuban aircraft has attacked and shot down a chartered civilian airliner. How are they going to make it more dramatic? They're going to say that it was a group of college students who were going on holiday, and they outline exactly how they're going to do it. So there will be 2 planes. One's a drone. One actually has people on it. These people are going to be given aliases. So the names that are on this plane don't actually exist. The planes will take off at about the same time. Civilians will land safely, exit, disappear. Those people don't exist. The drone will keep going. When it gets over Cuban airspace, they'll send out a Mayday signal. At the same time as they do that, a radio signal will trigger the destruction of this plane. That one blows my mind. I mean, we can see how that would be used and publicized, and the US people and maybe even international audiences would start calling for war with Cuba. If they attacked and killed a group of college students who were just off on vacation, yeah, they seem insane, and maybe they should be taken down, right? Maybe. Number 9, the big finale. This one involves lying to the US service members. This one goes into a lot of detail, so take a read if you're interested. It's going to be an Air Force exercise off the coast of Cuba. 4 planes doing a routine exercise, but before they take off, they're going to be primed to believe what's about to happen. They'll say you need to carry ammunitions just in case Cuba attacks. The pilot at the end of the formation is in on the whole gig. At some point during the flight, he'll say he's being ambushed, and then he'll cut his signal of his plane so no one can see him or find him. He's going to land safely. He's fine. By the way, this guy has an alias. He doesn't actually exist. At the same time that the plane would have crashed, a submarine is going to pop up in the area and distribute plane parts. And these 3 pilots who were in the air actually believe that they just lost a brother in arms. So they land. This is what it says. The pilots returning to Homestead would have a true story as far as they knew. Search ships and aircraft could be dispatched and parts of aircraft found. So they're going to lie to their own military members. They lie to the public, they publicize everything, they hold fake funerals, they send lists of fake victims off to the news. It is absolutely insane the lengths with which they are willing to go and lie to the American people and the world. So thankfully this wasn't approved, but when we see this, doesn't it make you kind of question the world events that we've seen so far? What was staged? What was real? All of this is shocking to me. I mean, I kind of had thoughts. I am more conspiratorially minded, but only because shit like this exists and I can see that something is happening, that they're willing to lie to us to this degree. And maybe this plan wasn't approved because of the president that we had at the time. But if it had been a different president, would this have been approved? At any point in the past, present, or future, have things like this been enacted, sold to us on the TVs as being fact, justifying war with killing another group of people? What can we believe?